All right, welcome everybody to the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gomer and am a podcast engineer here. I'm excited to bring you another episode of Ability Now with CeCe Carr. I've known for a little while now. Um, so who I think talks about her experience, and among other things. So over to you, CeCe. Wonder we got today.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Emily. You are amazing. And I actually want to thank the founders or the original people who established Ability Now. That's Kurt and Sue Roscoff. I just want to say thank you for creating the space for us atypicals to have a voice. The gentleman that's on the line with us, I forgot his name, but hello to you. And at first, when I first started, it was all about having a conversation about um, restoration. And so today, I probably would like to talk about something else different. And I could talk about all the art I've been creating. These are just parts of it, little pictures and all that. I haven't finished it yet, but I've been um, doing art. I'm trying to get another one out here. Here's another one, if you can see it. And I haven't finished it yet, but I figured be creative along the way. You can always create something to add value, like this picture right here. I haven't finished it yet, but this is what atypicals do a lot. They start things they may not finish right away. So that's one of the things that I plan on completing this year is finishing my assignments, finishing strong, and giving all thanks and praise to God and to the people in my life that allow me to be able to be creative and to have a opportunity to share my thoughts and share um, my experiences in life and grow. We can always grow from every situation. You can conquer anything, no matter what is going on. Atypicals are actually unique in their own ways. They have lots of gifts that need to be appreciated. And in my case, I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm really good at putting reports together. And I thank God for the opportunity to write reports when I worked for the federal government. And I see now I'm using all that training that God blessed me with to compile massive reports. They're not just one or two pages. Some of them are 20 and 30 pages. And with that, it shows a history of things. I probably could have been in already published books by now with all the volumes of letters that God has allowed me to create as a typical. I don't do things a little, I do things big. And since we do things big, we celebrate big. We buy big. Well, I do. Buy big, think big. I think big. I just don't think little. And so, even with conquering life situations, only with God's help, never minimize a person that is atypical because they are gifted in many ways. And I witnessed it this week at the library. And, library is a place where you can learn, it's quiet, read books. And this person was minding his own business. He was atypical, probably not as functioning as me because he had caretakers. But at the end of the day, he knew how to protect himself. And I thank God that God gave us all an ability to protect ourselves. And we don't have to fight. we actually can defend ourselves on paper. See, I don't have to talk to everybody about my problems anymore. I know how to put it down on paper. And that's what journaling is all about. I have a journal that's online, that's still online. It's on, I think it's on Amazon. It says 52 Weeks of Prayer. It's by CeCe Carr. And I have to update that book sometime soon, because when you write your visions down, you write your goals down. And in my case, I've been writing letters since probably before 2023. They started off was as letters to God, giving him thanks for everything, and then it manifested into letters to my HOA. I might have wrote 4,000 letters to them, and they have content in it. So it's not just some person being angry; it's actually detailing the laws of why they need to do what they need to do and do the right thing with integrity. And so, because God gave me two parents that had integrity, my father spent 29 years in the U.S. Air Force. So he is still alive. Thank God for that. And he showed me what leadership was all about in his actions. My whole life, and I'm not no young chickadee, right? He has honored his word to me. I know God honors his word all the time, but my dad, my real dad, if he said he would do something for me, he did it 100% of the time. And I'm so grateful that God blessed me with both of my parents. My parents both had integrity. My mother was a banker. She spent most of her time helping people at the credit union. You know, she would sit down, and this is back in the day when we had paper checks. My mother would sit there with people who had misbalanced their checking accounts and go through each item by them, with them. And she would also, sometimes she would credit their account. And my mother had so much patience. I'm so grateful I had a mother that was like that. So the combination of my mother and my father, and I'm the first of, my three siblings, and the fact that we traveled all over the world, England, Germany, Japan. So I kind of know a couple of words in a lot of different languages, but I know there's three words that are same: Jesus, amen, and hallelujah. In every language, it's the same, except amen is spelled I mean in some of the Middle Eastern countries. And I've had the opportunity to travel all over the world. So I met all kind of people from all countries, different languages. And God blessed me to go and travel all these different places in my younger years. And I'm grateful for the opportunity because these eyes and these feet have walked, I think, on almost every continent except Australia and I think New Zealand. I haven't been there either. But I have seen a lot of different countries, and I'm grateful to God for that. And I have walked um, in the Middle East, as an adult. I've been to the Suez Canal. I've seen the pyramids. I've been to the Dead Sea. I've been to India. One time I even took a cruise ship all around the world, and it had stopped in where did it stop at? Stopped at a lot of different places, but I even went to Singapore. Singapore, that was something else to me. And Singapore is very clean over there, and so they are very clean people. I noticed that. And then, I learned about other different countries. I even stopped in Africa a couple of times, or maybe a few different times: North Africa, South Africa, East Africa, Um, and I plan on doing some more traveling in the future. I've been to South America in a cruise ship. You know how you stop at the ports, get off, and walk and do a whole bunch of different options and activities while you're in those countries. Because sometimes they'll let us stay a couple of days, and we get to do excursions and bus trips, all that kind of stuff. So I've been to South America. I've been to the Asia. I've flown into China, Korea, and of course, I have been to Europe. Barcelona, Spain is to me is the gateway to Europe. From Barcelona, Spain, you can get almost anywhere cheap. So I learned how to travel um, on a budget and go as far as I can and be safe and stay in nice hotels. I'm talking about like Hilton, Marriott's, all that, Holiday Inns, because I like to stay in Americanized hotels that don't you don't have to spend more than a couple of $100 a day. And if you budget right, you probably and plan in advance, you probably could get it much cheaper than that. Before the pandemic, it was a breeze to go anywhere in the world. So I thank God for the opportunity to travel all around the world, even Canada. I have been to Manitoba. What's that? Manitoba, Winnipeg, Manitoba. I've been to Toronto, Quebec City, all St. John's. This is all part of Canada. And so, with all that, I'm grateful to have met all kind of people from all over the world. And, we're a melting pot here in the United States. We have all peoples, nations, and tongues that have, different languages that have um, come together to make this country great. All kind of people have come to serve and help. They have started up their own businesses. They have done things that I, as a seasoned American, might not want to do right now at my age. Like, I don't think I want to pick any vegetables right now. So I need to be thankful that there's people that are willing to serve in that capacity, to make sure that we all have fresh fruit and vegetables that we can purchase at the store. And it takes people who care about other people to do those kind of work. So I think that's my personal opinion, it takes a lot of people giving of themselves to make America great. I really, truly believe that. And it's just not one type of people. It's from people from all over the world have come to America and to serve. And before I was on this in America, I'm sure my family came over here. Um, I know one set of the family, they all came over here on a boat. Um, they all came for different reasons on the boat. But I know my grandmother's side of the family, they came in Southampton, Massachusetts. I recently learned that through ancestry.com. And I said to myself, wow, I had a cousin. I haven't actually met him, but his mother was a sister to my grandmother. And back in, I guess, 50s and 60s, when they had children and they weren't married, because back then they had different thoughts about single women, um, different ideologies. Well, and thank God they had kids and they kept them, but some of them got adopted out by other people. And and one of the last names was Duval. And he was on the family tree, and I was like, who is this Duval? And so I called, and come to find out, he was adopted But he turned out to be an amazing man, got in the military. He was an expert bomb. Um, he was trained in bombs. And so I said, wow. And, and the fact that, he's retired from that, but he does other stuff now. And he has a beautiful family. And he has, for the last 40 years, updated our family tree on that side of the family, and they have all moved further into the Midwest, Texas, California area. So I found that quite interesting to learn that some of our family members came in on a boat. Some went to Massachusetts. Some came on a boat and ended up in New York. Their name is on the manifest and everything. And I was like, wow. And so some of our family came in from Wales. Yeah, Wales and Scottish. Some of them were Scottish, and they came in and their name was on the manifest. And some of my family was in the Confederate War. I was like, wow. And they had, split off, because a lot of times they had big families. And so the big families were around to pick all the vegetables and work the fields or what have you. This is way before my time, but I learned about it through our family tree. And I was like, wow. And so that lineage, I can say somebody gave up a lot for me to be able to be here on this earth. Not just God, but my family members fought through a lot of things, um, trials and tribulations, for me to have the little bit which God blessed me with, which is a home. And I still got a vehicle. Thank you, Jesus. And for what people gave up for me to have what I have today, um, I'm going to say I'm not going to just let somebody steal it from me, because my family's fought just like everyone else's family fought for America. And since so many people fought for America, it's just not one group, it's a lot of us that continue to be contribution, no matter what age. My father fought for this country. He went to Vietnam. He gave up a whole lot for this country and our family. He wasn't home a lot. He had to go out of the country, TDY. He couldn't even talk about what he did. And he gave up a bunch of teeth. He ain't got all his teeth today. And he don't like going to dentists. And he told me the story about that. Back in the day, this is in the 40s, anesthesia cost extra to go to the dentist. And his mama didn't have the money to give him that anesthesia to take out a tooth. And they took out, the dentist took out the tooth, this back in 30s and 40s, with no anesthesia. Can you imagine? I wouldn't want to go to the dentist either. I'm not saying don't go to the dentist, but back then it cost them extra. And they weren't very wealthy people. Because my dad even told me he had to pick cotton. That's why he got in the military, because he didn't want to pick cotton no more. That's funny. But he said that his big mama, they call it big mama back then, the more kids they had, the more laborers they had to pick cotton. So there was a special way to pick the cotton without cutting your hands. So he told me about that. I'm so glad I still got a daddy, y'all. So the girls were better at picking cotton than the boys. I mean, than the men. So my dad would have to catch the bus out to the country, or he would ride with one of his uncles. on the weekends to pick cotton, and he wasn't that good at it. So he had to go back and get the cotton after everybody else was finished. But the girls were good at picking cotton, I think, because their hands were smaller and they could get into the bulb faster to pick out the cotton, out from it's like a bulb that the cotton's in. And my dad was telling me about that. I'm so glad he can remember that far back. So that's why he didn't like picking cotton, but he liked talking to his cousins. So they be out in the field talking, I get my talking from. My dad don't think he talk a lot, but I got it from him. My mama was not a talker. She was quiet. So when he was telling me about how he had to pick that cotton, and so that's one of the reasons why he went in the military. And he met my mama up north because he from down south. And at first, when they got together, my mom could not cook because he was looking for seasonings because southern cooking is a whole lot better than bland food. Up there, that's what he called it, bland. Ain't got no seasoning. And also, up north, they eat fish more than they do up south. My dad never had fish other than canned salmon. You know how they make salmon croquets. My father never had shrimp and all that before because his family was not wealthy enough to have all that. And my dad had five brothers, including him, was six of them. And so when he went to Massachusetts, thanks to the military, he learned about fish from my mama. And my mom was only child and all that. So she had it bad, but she didn't have six siblings to grow up with, like total, like my father. And she didn't gulp her food down. When you got a lot of kids and you fighting for that little chicken, um, one chicken with eight people, and that's why my dad today still don't like the back. So that's funny. Um, but at the end of the day, he learned a lot from my mother. My mother used to savor her food, chew it all up. And my dad was like eating fast. And that's probably I got all my eating fast from my dad. I hate to say it like that. But my mom would savor her food. And when they first got together, he thought she didn't like her meat because she was saving that for the last. But he'd be over there eating her food, eating her meat. And then one day she said, "Why are you eating my food?" She said, "Well, you don't want it." He said, "Yes, I do. I saved the best for last." I cracked up laughing in my mind because people eat fast, they can eat everybody else's food. That's between me and you, okay? And really, people who savor their food, they're not rushing to eat everything right away. And he told me some things. My mom's passed now, so he told me some things about her that I didn't even realize that he learned from her. Because I learned a lot from my mom. Because my mom was a very generous person. Both of my parents were very generous, and they help other people in kind. And so I learned a lot about giving from my parents, and I'm grateful for the heart to give to others. And it's not based upon anything. I know how to give to everybody because I have traveled and people have helped me along the way. They have helped me even when I didn't even know I needed help. And I seem to understood that I needed help, and I would say thank you. And even in some of these countries, I have gotten lost. What am I doing getting lost in a country? That's because I went too far out, forgot the name of the streets, didn't know where the ship was, and I had to ask somebody, "Can you take me back to the ship?" So I learned from my own personal experience to be observant of my surroundings. So thanks to God, when I go somewhere, we got GPS now so we can navigate back. But some of these countries overseas don't have updated navigation like we do in America. And there are certain spots in America where, we might not have good reception, but overall, we got good navigation skills. We don't have to use a map no more. And I know how to use the map. I know how to use the map to go up all the way up to Massachusetts, all the way um, to South America. I know how to go east, west, north and south. The interstate are odd numbers, like Interstate 35, north, south. You got 10 west, east, and west. So horizontal, that means east and west. The most likely the highways will be even numbered: 10, 90 east, 90 west, 20 east going, west. That's east and west. And I learned about the circles, the perimeters, 285, 210, I think, and I forgot, maybe we got 1604 in San Antonio, Texas. We got all kind of highways that circle the cities like Houston. I think they have 610 that circles the city. Um and I've driven like all over this United States. So, well, last name Carr, Carr. I have rode a lot of places, thanks to God. And so with that, I think I've gotten 20 minutes in. So the gentleman that was he still on the line? He learned a lot about me. Would you like to say anything? Okay. I think I got material till, I don't know. I got material. So I can always talk about something good. Because even in some of the places that I visited along the way, let me see if my light's on. So it's getting dark over here in Georgia. Um, I wanted to keep my light on so at least you can see me so I don't look like I'm dark because the sun is setting. But I learned to enjoy every day. Every day is an opportunity to celebrate life, celebrate somebody else, celebrate just everything. Because I'm looking for another light so I can at least you can at least see my face because after the sun goes down, it's pretty dark over here. And what I can say is nothing happens by mistake. I don't think that. I think it was all in God's plan to go through. Um, I do know this, but all of our training, um, all of our experiences in life, including the family that we were blessed with, counts as experience. And I look at that as an opportunity to give thanks and praise for everything. I'm just looking for light. See, being a typical, you gather a lot of stuff. I gather a lot of stuff. So at some point, I'm going to get better organized. I'm going to get, I'm going to use better organization skills. Like my mom sewed into those. I don't know how many families she sewed into, taking time and patience to go through their checking accounts and all that. But I think I'm a recipient of those blessings that my mom took time with all kind of people. And I think the blessing is it keeps going forward. Um, so at the same time, I'm trying to look for a light. Let there be light. And and focus at the same time on the podcast. So, since I ain't found the light, I'm just going to keep talking because God gives us multiple thoughts so that we can talk about all kind of things. And so, what I've learned along the way is if a person has to lie, which I'm grateful that I learned early. I'm not saying I never lied before. I don't like lying. So I do my best not to lie because then I don't have to make up a story. So what and I can also say this because I learned from parents that have integrity. I too um want to do the right thing, no matter what it looks like. And so I was looking for a light. Let there be light over here. I was looking for how you turn the flashlight on. Oh, you see a flashlight now? I think we have light. Let there be light, y'all. Thank you. Since I didn't plan, but lights do matter. Lights, action, and camera do matter. So since I'm missing my person's 70th birthday today, it wasn't on purpose. I'm about 60 miles from her outside of Atlanta. I'm on 75 going north. Um, and that's going towards Ohio, Kentucky area. So I don't think I could have made it there on time. I wouldn't have made it on time. But I am grateful that you guys are here to learn something about what greatness is. Greatness is also staying the course on whatever situation that you've been blessed with. It's staying the course and finishing strong. And the only way I can stay the course, God bless me to stay the course, is to trust God and honor my word. That's one of the things. Somebody asked me the other day, "Are you a Democrat?" I said, "No, I'm not a Democrat. I don't call myself any group. Um, I think we need to serve everybody, no matter what they are, Democratic or independent or whatever. But we're supposed to serve each other with excellence. It's not about a party. To me, it's not. It's all about us coming together, all together, not talk bad about somebody's job, not talk bad about the president, because we don't know if all that stuff on the TV is correct anyway. It could be um, stated a certain way, because I know about filming. It can be cut and edited at any time and can show a different picture other than what it was intended. So, with that, I'm still searching for my recorder, but I couldn't find it. And I'm not worried about it because I'm still in the light right now. And also, um, there's lots of material out here that I could talk about. Because AARP, I don't know if you know about AARP. They have a foundation, and every year, tax season, they offer free taxes preparation. Not the business side of things, but just personal taxes. And they offer this as a service, which I think that's what it's intended to do, to help people be able to file their taxes on time and do it correctly. So I want to applaud AARP because they'll do anyone's tax. You don't have to be a senior. Anyone that shows up and makes an appointment. And I think they do a good job. I've used them maybe one time. And I stopped by there today. I'm not today, yesterday, and that's where I got that flyer from. So I'm not just promoting that organization. I'm promoting all organizations that are in the helping people business, just like Ability Now. They're in position of helping other people. And that's why we have a podcast. I thank God they have a scavenger hunt going on right now. It looked very interesting. And when they come back together to discuss what they found, um, I think that is enjoyable to learn the different things and to have different activities going on at the same time. And I don't know what you think that this look like. What do you think this looks like right here? Ah, we're in the dark now. Ah, can you see that? I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this clearly? Ah, this is a picture of public utility tampering. This is a picture, if you can see a clear picture of it. Now, if you don't have, and that's what public utility tampering looks like. This is me right here. I went to on September the 20th, 2023. God blessed me to be able to go to my city council meeting. I don't know if you can see me in there. It's not a clear picture from this angle, but my little afro is in there back then. And my city council members are in the background because this was a public meeting. I don't know if you can see it, but the actual video of it got removed and it was replaced with a recent podcast of Ability Now. And I believe it was either December 2025 or January 2026. I couldn't identify which one. They took clips of it and posted it on the City of Conyers website as though it was September the 20th, 2023, where I had reported utility, public utility tampering and elder abuse, adult abuse, deprivation of public utilities services. That means water and sewage, not the electricity bill. And so when you report something like that, a lot of times people want to shy away from it. If I could have been able to shy away from it, I would have. But that wasn't something that I could just disappear from because, oh, we need this to live in our home. Our home needs public utilities, and it wasn't disconnected by Rockdale Water Resources, who is the sole public water authority for our entire community via the master meter. Um, they currently deliver public water services to our community, which is Viewpoint East Condominiums, Conyers, Georgia, 1450 Pine Log Road. And they deliver it via the master meter. And we have 79 units. So we have 3 cul-de-sacs where the original public utilities were, are supposed to be delivered to our homes. And since Rockdale Water Resources is the only public water authority, we are supposed to have public utilities. So I have learned about the EPA, EPD, all kind of things regarding having public utility services. And so since it was tampered with, no plumber would mess with it. with it because it's a felony to tamper with public utility lines. So I have learned um, to give, in all things, give thanks. So I am sitting in front of a decent hotel. It's part of the Marriott family. And I'm actually enjoying it. They have a pool, indoor pool, so I could exercise. They have a gym, so I could exercise. They have a nice front area, and it's very welcoming. The beds are comfortable, very comfortable, and they have been very accommodating. Marriott has a upstanding standard with all of their properties, and I thank God for it. And I just like I've traveled around the world. Um, Marriott is one of the hotel brands that I do like. I do also like Holiday Inn. Um, at one point, I would stay at a lot of Holiday Inns, even overseas, and it was quite interesting how comfortable they were. And so today I learned to appreciate hotels. I really do. I learned to appreciate the customer service that I receive when I do stay in a hotel. And I'm grateful for that. I learned to look for solutions. And since God is gifted me with the gift of gab, I can thoroughly say thank you. Thank you for the ups and downs. Thank you for everything. So, what I also can say is there's an ending date to every problem, and there's a solution to every problem. And I'm still trying to figure out how to put my other camera on so that I can go on YouTube, so I can do a dual recording, so we can have more listeners, the video. And so I really wasn't prepared, but I should have got prepared, stay prepared no matter what. And I did not invite anybody to come join us. I should have, but I forgot. That's the one thing about atypicals. We forget some things, but no need. Um, just be grateful that we are here today and we are celebrating the life that God gives us, and that we exude leadership. Leadership always takes responsibility, good leadership, for situations, whether they go well or not go well. Like for the last 2 days, there's been about 45 college students in the hotel with us. Their coach staff is all with us, and they're very organized. They supply, or they provide these luscious meals for them. I saw them feeding them well. And this morning I was just observing. Even though I talk a lot, I look and listen a lot too. So the coach, he looked like a coach. I didn't know it was the coach till I asked him. I said, "Excuse me, are you a coach?" I said, "Because you look like one." And he said, "Yes, I am." I said, "Well, you look the part." And I said, "Your team has been very mannerable. I observed it. And you guys are so organized." And so it was a blessing to have that team here, because they were very polite. They were a baseball team. I think they're from Ohio. They said they're from like a hour uh, north of Columbus, somewhere around there. They're not in Cincinnati or anything like that, but they're in, I'm sure a nice city, because I've driven all the way up to Cleveland, Ohio before, and I would stop by to see my little niece who's in Columbus, Ohio. She's and but I don't do that in the wintertime anymore because I got snowed in a couple of times. It was at a nice hotel. I think it might have been a Marriott. So I enjoyed myself, but I was happy to get out of there after being snowed in um, a few days. And a few times up there, I learned I don't need to drive up there in winter. I can stay where the weather is reasonably um, well, nice, not no 10 inches of snow. So I'm okay with that. And we haven't gotten 10 inches of snow here in Georgia, where I'm at. Um, and I'm grateful. So I'm still trying to figure out how to turn my camera on the other on the other cameras on the other phone. And I haven't figured it out yet. So I'm not even worried about it. I was just keep talking because there is some content, a lot of content that I talk about. And I don't just talk about one thing. I talk about my life. I talk about my family. I talk about important people. I even talk about people in a nice way. Um, who ask questions about, and they want to give answers. And I just have to be polite and say, well, I don't have an answer for that yet. Like today, I was in the library and this is here in Woodstock. I was in the library and I couldn't figure out how to save everything on that I had worked on the computer. So I missed the opportunity to save it. And this lady and I was saying, "Oh Lord, I don't know how to, save anything." This lady says, "Well, all I had to do is go to the front desk." Well, she didn't know I was on a guest pass. They don't save anything on the computer um, for people who use guest pass because I'm just visiting. So I just can say all I can say is thank you because people want to help. A lot of times they'll ask questions when they say you're in the hotel still. I say yeah, but count it all joy because I met some beautiful people in the hotel. I learned today in people in I think it's Louisiana speak a different language. Um, and Jimmy means God over there in their language. They speak between French and Spanish together. And so I said, wow, like vaya con Dios in Spanish means go with God. I didn't know how to say it right. But when I said it to him, he says, well, I speak French. We don't say it like that. I said, oh, I understand. I said, well, merci beaucoup then. And because I know that means thank you very much in French. My mother spoke French, but not to us. But I learned that flying around the world because sometimes you sit next to nice people and you don't know their language, but they gave me a gift. I said, I just turned around one day. I was sitting next to somebody. I think I was sitting in the middle. You know how the planes are. I was sitting in, there was somebody on the right of me, somebody on the left, and I didn't want to infringe upon them. But this person was so nice. I said, you're a very nice person. And the man said to me, Mercy beaucoup. I said, "Oh, Mercy beaucoup." He said, yes, that means thank you very much. I said, thank you. I said, I never forgot that word. So whenever I meet somebody who speaks correct French, I go, Mercy beaucoup. And they go, thank you very much. So I know a few words in Spanish. And so when I meet people who speak Spanish, um, Espanol, I don't speak it correctly, but I try to learn new words. So I speak it broken, but I do know how to say um vaya con Dios. I do know how to say gracias, thank you very much, muchas gracias. So whenever people are serving me, and I might be able to say voces los in German. like Guten Morgen, Guten Tag. That is German for good morning, good afternoon. And I know a little bit of food, but Jaeger. I don't know, I forgot. But I know how to read it on the on the menu. I want that right there. I know how to say that in German because I've eaten in Germany and I know some of the food that tastes good. So I said, well, I want that, but I know how to say that in German. I've been to what do you call it, China before, and their food is clean, good too. But I guess you must know I'm a foodie. Who would have thought? I like food from all around the world. I like dishes from all around the world. And since I've been having to stay in hotels, I haven't been eating good food like I normally do. Like I ended up getting a case of gout, and that's uric acid building up in your system. Too much meat. I had bacon that triggered it for me. Bacon and canned what do you call that stuff? It's a fish. It's a fish that's canned, but it's high in uric acid or uric. That uric stuff that causes gout. And I think it's crab. I had some crab meat, and I was like, it tasted good until my hands swelled up. I said, this is my first and last bout with with what you call it, gout. I said, that's it. I'm done. So, needless to say, when they have bacon, I'm not telling people not to eat bacon, but me, CeCe, I'm not eating none of that bacon. I don't care how good it looks. And they've been having bacon over here, which is my one of my favorite foods. I said I'd leave that bacon alone after having that case of gout because it took some weeks before it would calm itself down because I went on Google and I said, what is this? And Google told me, you're gonna laugh. Google told me you need to go to the emergency room right now. Well, I didn't have emergency room money, and we were snowed in, and it was just too cold for me to be trying to go to some emergency room that they make you sit there all night. I said, oh no. So I said, well, what can I do for gout? And it told me what to do. It took me a while to go get the stuff because they didn't have it in the hotel. But I thank God. I thank God for Walmart. Walmart. Oh, oh my Jesus! My car was rolling down the street. Oh, let me turn the car on. Back up. Back it up, y'all. Back the car up. I forgot to put the brake on. So, oh Jesus, got all this stuff in the car. So got to back up carefully. So do back that thing up. Oh Jesus. Sorry about that. The car was rolling down the street and I didn't notice it until we went. So we were down. Um, okay. I think I'm in the parking space now. So anyway, that problem solved right there. Thank you, Lord. But at the end of the day, I got off topic just a little bit because I, change of what I was doing. So I didn't forgot what I was talking about. So we'll just transition to something else. But I might have been talking about when I was in China because I'm foodie over there too. They got some good food over there, but I just don't eat everything. That's why I like going to nice hotels because you can um they serve a good plethora of food. So I appreciate good food, knowing that um I'm very culturally um what do you call it, diverse. I even like empanadas. That's in Spanish. They got different types of empanadas from the different countries. Empanadas is this bread that they uh, bake and they put stuff in it like pumpkin, or they do all in the fry and all that stuff. But I'm trying not to eat so many fried foods right now because I'm getting older. And since I'm a senior citizen now, I gotta take better care of myself because this gout thing can't it's got to be my first and last thing. And yeah, that's what I was talking about. Going to the emergency room while I was rolling down the street. So um I said I can't go to no emergency room, not when we were snowed in. So I'm back to Google now. So I'm back on track now. So Google gives a lot of information. Some of it is not correct. So you have to fact check everything that you Google, that I Google. Because if you read it too fast, you might not get everything you need to get. So you have to fact check everything, which I do. It just takes a while for me. It might take me hours to do it, but I thank God that I just don't go by what everybody verbally says because some people don't tell the truth or they withhold information or you just get a little bit of it. So I look for ways to be successful by fact checking because I'm actually a research advocate. I God blessed me to be able to solve problems to complex things, and I'm good at forensic inspections. Forensics, that means if somebody lie about something. Now, I'm not gonna use that word lie. Misrepresent. So when you misrepresent things, there are always ways to discover what was misrepresented. It just takes a little bit of time sometimes. So this gout itch issue, and I remember family members having gout because they liked all them uric producing foods. And once God gave me the experience to experience it once, I don't want it no more. So when they got bacon over here at this hotel, I declined. I declined to eat it, put it all in my mouth, even though I like bacon. Because I don't know how. I don't know how to eat two slivers of bacon. Slivers. I need a whole plate full. So maybe that's why I got the gout. So since I know I don't know how to eat two pieces of bacon, I had to say no, thank you. So I just want to say, is my time up? If not, I got some more content. And on top of that, somebody might learn what not to do when you have gout. Bacon don't work for me, so I'm done with bacon. I'm done with that what's that canned crab, all that. That's high uric. A lamb is high uric acid. I was like, lamb is my favorite meat. See, I like fat too. Fat, well, not the bad fat, but the good fat. Lamb has some good fat to it. But I learned I can't eat a lot of that now. My body's saying, you didn't had enough. So I said, okay, I didn't had enough lamb. Oh, and this is one thing that calms it down. Greek yogurt. I researched that online. Greek yogurt, 100% Greek, not just any kind of yogurt. They got a bunch of sugar and flavor and all that. This is plain Greek yogurt, and that helped calm down um, gout. So I said, okay, so let me get some Greek yogurt. So they had it for breakfast here, and they have the flavored ones too, because everybody liked the flavored ones. So I had to put my sweetness on, sweet voice. Excuse me. And she thought I was talking about sugar when I said, uh can you give me some yogurt seen a sugar? And she thought I wanted some sugar. No, I didn't want no sugar. I went over there and described to her. I said, no sugar, please. But she didn't know that I had gout, but I had to say it in a sweet way. I said, excuse me, perdóname. That means excuse me. Can you bring me some Greek yogurt with nada in it? Nada. No fruta, no sugar, nada. Nada means nothing. So she brought it to me and I said, thank you, muy gracias. And I'm telling you, I was really thankful because I don't want no more of this gout. And gout, if you ever had the experience of it, make your hands swell up, your toes, your appendages, your toes hurt so bad you want to say, ain't no bath gonna take care of that. No hot water. Um, Sugar, when you eat sweet stuff, makes it worse. At first, when you eat sugar, in my case, when I eat sugar, it makes me feel better because it didn't kill my nerves, not my nerves like I'm nervous emotionally, but your nerves in your body. And that when you have gout, you trying to calm down the pain. But that's not a permanent fix. You rather drink water to help flush out that uric acid. Also, Greek yogurt helps. And another thing, I learned something from the library. The librarian told me that there's this special cherry. It's not the ones that you put in drinks. It's a different one. Thanks to Walmart, not just Walmart. I think Kroger has it also. This is unsweetened cherry juice. Now, it doesn't make you well one time. It's unsweetened and it's not a mixed juice. You have to buy the concentrate and it has a long name. Starts with an M. I don't know the name, but the lady at the library, thanks to her, gave me her testimony. She says, oh, my daughter has gout really bad, and this is what she does. I said, well, you didn't need to say nothing else. So I went and searched for this unsweetened, nothing sweet. It's not even mixed up where you have to mix it in your own water. You have to mix it in your Greek yogurt and all that kind of stuff. But let me tell you, after about 3 weeks, my hands started looking like they were normal again. And I was like, God, thank you. And so, because I couldn't go to the emergency room because we were snowed in at that time, I was so grateful God gave me a better way and I started eating better. That means I wasn't eating that everything off of the breakfast available. So I don't eat none of them packaged goods where I sneak it. Okay. I just don't eat a lot. Okay. I'm just a secret between you and me. And then I try to eat some more vegetables, like fresh vegetables. Not none of this frozen stuff. I'm not saying that you would get well all the way, but I noticed my hands ain't red no more. And when you have gout, you can't even close your hands. I couldn't close my hands. Here I was trying to type, couldn't type on the typewriter, feet. And I said, God, I can't do this. This is my last time. So the older people, the older they get, you could take better care of them. And if you eat with them, eat the same food that they eat, it will make them feel better after a while. You don't let them sneak all that bacon, even 2 pieces. I'm not getting no more bacon after this bout. I'm done. And I'm not telling people not to eat bacon, but I'm telling you, when my body started screaming at me, I said, that's it. And I don't want to be on no more medicines, period. So a lot of it is our own choices. And so going back to all the people who serve in the farms to make sure we have fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, what I could say is thank you. And the cows that they use to make Greek yogurt, all that kind of stuff. What I could say is thank you. And this country, all the United States, is great because of a lot of people, a lot of smart people, a lot of people who are serving us, and for us to be respectful of all people. That is the ultimate thing. Be respectful and kind to all peoples and nations and tongues, because America is great because of all of us here. There's nobody better than me or anybody else. And at some point, somebody else will, all people will realize God put us here to be servants to one another with kindness, respectfulness, understanding. Not everything I do is right, but I can tell you this, because God blessed me with parents that had integrity, I got some too. So if anybody want to call me a liar, they gonna get embarrassed, because CC don't roll as a liar, because my name ain't that. My name is fearfully and wonderfully made. My name is so many good names that God thinks about all of us. He don't call anybody no names other than beautiful, wonderful. He calls us the apple of his eye. So since God thinks so many good thoughts about us, it's more than saying, who am I to think bad thoughts about anybody else? At the end of the day, integrity means honoring your word even though you don't want to. If you got to lie about something, you've already lost, because the battle always is the Lord's. And God has equipped us inside. All things are possible through Christ Jesus who strengthens me. And the fact that God kept me, he kept me here because we all have a testimony. We have something good to share about all people. And since I'm kind of like counting it all joy, because if that that public water termination didn't happen, I probably wouldn't have met all these lovely people around me who've been serving me in all these different hotels. And it wouldn't have been, God blessed me to be able to do research. Even if the hotel all of a sudden turns the computers off, God still give me the ability to find it somewhere else, because somebody else will research for me. Everybody got computers now. So I go, excuse me, can you use your computer, your phone, to research this and this and this and this and this for me? And they'll say, sure. All them kids that were here this weekend, those baseball players, were very well mannered. Some of them came over there and said hello to me. I said, look at here. Hello back. And since they have smart minds, their computees are going all the time. So if I can't see something because the screen's too small, I say, excuse me, would you mind researching something for me? Because I'm trying to figure it out. You're being truthful and honest. And so I don't go by what comes at the top of my head, because my head don't know everything. And I fact check things. So when you fact check things, you know from yourself. Like the stuff that I shared with you today, majority has been fact checked already. I try not to make up things. And if I don't say the whole story all that moment, I can always write it down. I give you a whole report about it. And so when people sometimes try to take advantage of my recordings because I haven't had the opportunity to explain it, splank it all in that one conversation, because it's a continuous conversation, don't use this recording as a source of their defense. I say, because it doesn't, one recording does not share the whole story. My letters do. And if I made a typographical error, well, some of it, all of us make mistakes, but you can't count it against me, because I made a mistake, a typo mistake. Can't turn it into another document. But what I also can say is all them thousands and thousands of letters that God blessed me to write to people will not be dismissed. All them thousands and thousands of letters where there was statutes, laws, plus pictures of everything. And if somebody decided to tamper with my videos that I recorded myself and then slide something in because I didn't know how to make it to where it would be tamper proof, and they turned it into something else. All the state representatives, my congressmen's constituents who removed paperwork, removed evidence, they're still going to be accountable, including City of Conyers. City of Conyers, um, City Council are all under oath. I never was under oath with nothing. I wasn't even on any agenda. I've never been on the city council agenda where I had to swear in my testimonial. I've never even been that. Now I ran for city council and lost by 73 votes, but at the end of the day, I never was sworn into any position of authority. And so how could somebody use this podcast, excerpts of it, and put it on a official site as though it was done in the same context? And it wasn't. So I will, I do have a voice. We all have a voice. We all have the opportunity to share the truth. And if somebody wants to mischaracterize me, knowing that I have requested Americans with Disability Act accommodation, and then they turn around and issue a ticket for trespassing, felony trespassing, that just does not seem right to me. And I just merely going to use the computer at Goodwill Industries. This is the one in Woodstock. And this happened today. Today is February the 7th. I went in there before I could even get in there. I'm gonna tell you a story. It's the truth. Before I could get out the door, the manager was outside talking to me. She had no name tag on, nothing. And I had just wrote um, Goodwill a nice letter and said, "Hey, um, I need time to review a document before I sign it." Because she told me, "I'll read it to you. You better sign it." I said, "I don't have to go by what you're reading me. I need opportunity to review the document because the print was too small." And before I could get on the computer, she called the local police and told them a mischaracterization of CeCe. Because this how it happened. When the officer came into the career center, this was a canine officer. He says, "Is there a black man and a black woman acting a fool over here?" And we were like, "No, we know nothing about that." Well, the manager, Kalia something, I don't know her name. She had no name tag because I had met her outside. She came inside and said, "You're gonna sign this now. You ain't gonna use no computer." You got the attitude, which can manifest in any culture, okay? And I said, "Hold on, let me read it first. Let me see it, expand it to where I could see it." But before then, the police was there. And so they said, "Well, if you don't leave the premises, we're going to arrest you for felony trespassing." I said, "Okay, I didn't do any." Oh, well, whatever. So I walked out, but this manager had lied because I had sent two letters, written letters to corporate saying I have ADA accommodation. This is what atypicals can request for. So I need more time to use the computer and all that kind of stuff because computer cut off before I could finish. So the police officers, like it was set up, like they said next time she come, we're gonna issue her a warrant. This is how they like to depict people, cultural people. They depict them as a disgruntled person, and they also depict them as loud. And basically, they build a case up to discredit them as a person based on somebody else's opinion. So when I saw her hand them a prepared statement, I said something ain't right. So they issued me this felony, criminal trespassing, and bear in mind I'm retired federal something. Okay, I was like, I never seen nothing like this. And so before they even arrived, she was mumbling some stuff. Well, we'll see what's gonna happen to you. I was like, ooh, that's her. And now this police that came out, Woodstock, Georgia, didn't even review the camera, didn't even um give me an opportunity to say anything because I asked for an advocate. I asked for a chaplain because a chaplain, they have police chaplains that are supposed to ride with them. So when I asked for a chaplain for my spiritual health and for my emotional health, all that, um, he said, well, I text them. They didn't call me back. I said, okay. I said, well, can you text them again? And he says, well, he's probably not working today. It's Saturday. So you can find him at the big church on Sunday. I was like, okay. But I don't agree with this. And so instead of arguing, um, they basically just threw this ticket on me. And I just kind of thought to myself, people go through a lot of things in life. And I said, I'm gonna have to research this. And I'm not trying to go back over there. But the fact that the leadership did this and didn't use any what do you call it, integrity, made up something, is gonna go back and reflect on her as a leader. Because once you do it to one person, it's gonna happen again. She probably thought she getting away with all this. But nobody gets away with anything, even me. So I'm making efforts to do the right thing. I say, God help me, because I want to be caring and show respect towards all people, no matter how they think. And just like the Bible says, count it all joy when you go through trials and tribulations. And I used to tell God, why do I need to count it all joy when people are mean? I was like, I don't want to understand that. I said, but at the end of the day, I learned it. That meanness gives you the power to go back and thank God, go back and read the scriptures, get you closer to God and grows your faith. I was like, whew, mean people, you let them keep their meanness. You don't have to accept that. That's their problem. So if I know somebody didn't lie and they think they want to argue me down about something they lied about, because atypicals um think a little bit slower. They have to reason things out. You have to give them time to reason things out and not coerce them or force them to sign documents. That's out of order. You have to give them enough time to either read the thing, get on the computer and read the thing instead of calling the police. And because she wasn't wearing a name tag, I didn't know who she was. For real. I didn't get her name, nothing. She had no name tag on. She was like she was outside waiting. waiting. She had no name tag on. She had on look like workout clothes. It's like it wasn't professional attire. Like she just was being being mean. Well, I thank God. At the end of the day, when you're trying to set up somebody else, you're actually gonna set up yourself. And all the other people who made up things and told the police, well, I have sworn affidavits. Now, she had her sworn affidavit already prepared. Today, it's like she had set that up. So, since her documents were already prepared, I knew something was going up, and I happened to see her give the police officer a prepared document. That's to cover themselves. Well, you don't get away with that because prior to me even going in there, and when I went in there, I had already sent a written request for ADA accommodations. This could be for anybody else. If they're trying to harass you and force you to do something before you get a clear understanding of things, you put that in writing because this is the reason why we have Americans with Disability Act to give us support, not to be abused by the people who are supposed to be providing a public service, even if they are a nonprofit. The way the Woodstock Police Department said to me, he said, "This is private property. They don't want you here." I said, "Really? Can you put that in writing?" And it's on his camera. I said, "I don't understand that. I really don't. How can someone who made up something say they don't want you here?" She's a employee. She can't be speaking for the whole Goodwill organization that is notoriously known for its charitable actions as well as their computers being available to all peoples, especially those who are ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act. And the fact that this person already had a prepared statement and she didn't have a name tag at all. I still don't know her name. It was redacted off of the police report. They marked it out with black. So I didn't get her whole name or her date of birth, which she has access to it. So the fact that she had made all this effort to do that and then give me an opportunity to read the document and then just tell me you can't never come back here again. If you come back, you would be arrested with felony trespasses. I think she need to rescind that as well as Woodstock, Georgia Police Department, who set all this thing together. And I thank God for the opportunity to share about it because if I probably was a different person, I probably could have reacted differently. Like I could see how um, regular people, especially people who have been displaced for a long time, displaced from their own home, or in my case, long-term deprivation of public utilities, water and sewer services, there could have been a different reaction. But the fact that God bless me because I was really rattled about it, like scared, like what's going on? Um, and not scared like I had did something wrong. I wasn't trying to run, because I can't run no more like that because I have physical disabilities on the period from injuries, from surgical injuries. But I thank God for that too, because you count everything joy, because I am illegally disabled, and I'm not looking as it as a crutch. I look as it as a opportunity and as an advantage. Not because I'm under ADA, it's because God has taught me to keep going even in adverse situations. So, what that means, I need to change my food. Don't wait until I get a bout with gout and drink water. I try to do my best to drink water daily. That's going to clear out that uric acid. Also, I wouldn't dare drive my car without water because it burn the engine. Same thing with our bodies. If you don't drink enough water, you're going to burn out your internal organs. And so water is very good for the body. I don't like drinking any kind of water though. I like to drink I don't like to drink tap water. It don't taste good to me, but I do like to drink quality bottled water that has been filtered and doesn't have a bunch of junk to it. Like I don't drink sodas anymore. Now I sip a little bit. Like if I see somebody with a soda, I say, "Can I get a little bit of that? Just a little swig before you drink it." And sometimes they'll give me some soda. I don't even know the person, but my mama used to do that for me. I didn't want to drink a whole soda, so whenever I saw her open up a soda, I said, "Mommy," I had a good mommy. I said, "Can I have just a little bit?" Because I didn't want to drink a whole soda. She would always give me my little bit, and I'd drink it. Thank you, that was just enough. Um, but now I'm doing it with other people I don't even know. I was like, "You got soda over there? Can I have a little bit?" That's terrible. But anyway, I try to treat everybody like they're my family, even though people do not recognize me as family. Now, I ain't trying to touch nobody, okay? So don't get it twisted. Um, I do my best to be a helper, like someone need help. I don't mind serving like that, but I don't do it without permission. I got enough problems of myself that God's given me with. I can't fix everybody's problems, but what I can do is be grateful. Be grateful that God has given me the ability to do what I do and the ability he gave me to write reports, put it all together, even though they might be long, they got truth to it. And if I do one type of graphical error, doesn't mean my report isn't valid. I think that God thinks good of all of us, and I think that way of everybody else. So if somebody wanna try to discredit me, that's not gonna work. It's gonna fall to the ground, all of it, because the parents that raised me, they love me enough to know that I would tell the truth. They love me enough to teach me, not just with words, with their actions, what integrity is all about. And then the other good people who are around me have that same level of integrity. So if somebody want to call me a liar, that ain't the truth. If somebody want to misrepresent me, because I'm made in the image of God, all of us are, you have to get my permission to use my videos in the context in which it was recorded, not for the city of Conyers to add it as though I was on the agenda when I'm not sworn to any oath. The absence and the prolonged deprivation of public utilities are grounds for disqualification for elected office. They're also grounds for disqualification for any public office. And so that's why nobody wanted to get involved. It's because they were involved with public utility tampering, and now it's prolonged long-term deprivation of public utilities, which is a felony. And that's why all these different people, agencies, nonprofits getting involved to document false information, which isn't going to work. And this is after the fact. I done gone decades. I'm a senior now. Decades. No documentation of criminal trespassing. And then all of a sudden, now criminal trespass? I think everybody need to back up because I don't have a history that's a misrepresentation. And all those reports that have been documented got statutes, laws in it. Because, I learned that from city government, county government, as well as federal government. They all sent us to training. And I also learned from my beautiful parents who had integrity. They did the best with what they had. But what's not going to happen is being mischaracterized, discredited, or described as quote unquote, I didn't describe it, somebody else described it. And any usage of my footage on this podcast is exclusively not to be used without my written consent and my permission. And if you decide to use it, it has to be in the context in which it was presented. So you can obviously see, since it's dark, I started off in the light. Now I have a light on. I started out with the sun out, and now it's gone. And so if there's a change in the temperatures, knowing that any type of meeting was held within a building, which would have lights, and it has to have my signed consent with my permission. And then to switch it out as though it was in the same context. These people trying to save their elected positions. Now, since it's been gone so long, there's been some years without public utilities due to a falsified documents that they signed with their license, and my bank, Navy Federal Credit Union, tied everything to them. Because with my debit card, I spend money. All of my bills are paid through Navy Federal Credit Union. All of my bills. My HOA fees, $275 a month. My mortgage, which happens to be through PHH Mortgage Services. And they did not do their due diligence to make sure the public utilities were restored. And I showed y'all a picture already. Down to the appraiser who falsified habitable conditions back, his appraisal was dated May 3rd through the 16th, 2023. My house been without public utilities since on or about January the 17th, 2023. And then my HOA treasurer, her name is Cindy Banks. See, I can tell the truth about myself since I don't sue people. Cindy Banks is a licensed real estate agent, and she's a treasurer. She signed that condominium questionnaire on April 20th, 2023, as habitable conditions. My house in Conyers, Georgia, condo, which we share utilities, has never had the public utilities disconnected through the master meter. Rockdale Water Resources is our public water authority. So all these people, along with city council, the Georgia representative, my property is located in District 92. The address is. And prior to this public utility tampering termination of water and sewer services, I had reported environmental hazards through the sewer line, common main sewer line, which is supposed to be maintained under our common areas, as our Viewpoint East condominiums has a commercial insurance, and they falsified maintenance reports and said they fixed the common sewer line, which they never did. And that's why there was backup in my house for decades. Unbeknownst to me, I thought it was just water. It wasn't. It was sewage. That's why I was sick. And so when you do those kind of things, and I let my state representative be known to it, and of course, I didn't get the opportunity to talk to her. I sent her emails. And the last email I received, she says, I don't even know who you are. What? She said, you should have seen, you should have read the emails. And of course, I stacked all the emails. That means since I stacked them, I showed a history of her being contacted in writing, 2022. And here we are, 2026. And she's running for public office. Anything dealing with prolonged, long-term termination or deprivation of public utilities, water and sewage, is a offense which disqualifies you for public service and elected elections. And since she has done this, and of course I sent an email, I sent all this documentation to the Oversight Committee, Georgia's legislator. And of course, it got blocked. Not even that. There's another one. Her name was Tanya Anderson. She is under District 92. She didn't even acknowledge that I sent the office an email or a call. I saw her at church and I introduced myself. I said, my name is CeCe Carr. I'm a retired some disabled. And we talking about felony utility deprivation and tampering. She said, I didn't know. She already defended. I didn't know. She's not telling the truth. My sisters, no, she didn't tell the truth. Everybody up here in Georgia know about me. If the police officers are making an effort to give me criminal trespassing tickets, citations for using it, and all I'm trying to do is read some documents, expand it so I can read it. There's a problem there. And then I reached out to my state representative. His name, there's two of them, John Ossoff, and there's also Raphael Warnock. I don't know if they're Democrats or what have you, but they're over District 92. And I reached out to them, and of course, their constituent services conveniently withdraw certain portions of my paperwork. Something. How do you not turn in all the paperwork that I submit? And then after signing several consent forms, and of course, each consent form I was signing, I'm thinking they're attaching all the paperwork. They didn't do any of that. They just sent the consent form and they said, oh, we don't see nothing wrong. Well, I'm sure you ain't gonna see nothing wrong if you didn't attach all the evidence that I submitted. details with statutes and all that. And since somebody want to mischaracterize me, no, my writings are not consistent with the misrepresentation that has been going on regarding CeCe Carr. Because somebody loved me enough, God first, and my parents loved me enough to show me what integrity is. And since I do have a voice, even if I am atypical, no, thank you. I'm not going to be agreeable to being mischaracterized. We got the Ackworth police. When I send them an email, which they gave me an email, it gets bounced back. Why they give me an email address when it bounces back from Gmail accounts? Okay. Then we got Coweta police report. I don't even remember meeting the officer. I think I might have called in and they gave me a case number. And I emailed a sworn affidavit and said, this is regarding a Best Western owned by a group of franchisees. And one of them's name is Steve Manav or what have you, but they're connected to Ackworth Hospitality LLC. And these are the same group of investors that manage the Best Western, which is across the street from 4 different hotels. They own a whole corner lot. The Hampton Inn, I think Comfort Inns. I'm not sure if Holiday Inn is part of their franchise group. But since I was at the Best Western for over 90 days, which by Georgia law, you cannot evict somebody out of a hotel if they've been there more than 90 days. But since somebody didn't want to tell the truth, told the officer that I only had been there 60 days, but my receipts plus, you get free points and all that, confirms I've been there since September. And if I've been there past October, it's still more than 90 days because this all happened, I think, January 26, 2026. But at the end of the day, I had asked for ADA, as it means Americans with Disability Act accommodation. And what I can say is, God, thank you for them federal laws to protect us. I'm looking for a charger because my phone is getting low on charge. And since I'm in the dark for real, I'm trying to feel around in one of my loaded bags here for a charger. Thank you, Lord. Um, to plug in so I can continue on because no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And if all these doors are blocked because nobody wants to lose their position of authority, because it's a felony to shut off, tamper with, cut off people's public utility services, water and sewage. I couldn't remember the citation, but I can write it to you. So you have to give me an opportunity to write what I need to say because I may not say it all in one conversation. So don't count it against me because I don't have everything involved. But I can tell you this, I can say names. Gerald Hinesley is over my district, my address for the city council. How anybody, I can't even remember all their names, how anybody gonna allow anybody to be in their district, house, condo, to be without public utilities that's provided by the Public Water Authority, Rockdale Water Resources, that has never been terminated through the master meter to anybody, especially one who's paid. And I've been paying this $275 for decades, plus whatever else. And the fact that there was so much effort used to try to misrepresent Miss CeCe says a lot about integrity. But what I can still say is thank you. I can still give thanks because the level of integrity both of my parents showed me is still manifesting through me. I don't intentionally lie on nobody. And when I say something and I don't remember all the facts at one time, it comes out on paper. And if I make a clerical error, you cannot use a clerical error. Let's say I transpose uh, a digit, the last two digit or one digit. That does not mean that gives that person the opportunity to use my transpose number 2, 3 years later and say, "Oh, that was the right case number." No, the Office of Insurance Commissioners, to putting everybody on notice. If I transpose the number by error, it does not become a report in the future. No, thank you. And you had told me that when I talked to you on the telephone. So, Mr. Manasseh Zodi, if you're related to any of these folk around here that are part of this insurance group, it's going to tie back to you as well as Joni, Joanne, Oni, what have you. Um, if you're a supervisor and you know that this is going on, you have a due diligence to have integrity, not to lie about things. And there's a paper trail for everything, including evidence tampering. Like if you change your email, because I had stacks of email, you know, 'cause I had to do it in stacks because I didn't have access to computer all the time. So I do a little bit at a time. Oh, and then as information came available, I was able to answer questions that I didn't have answers to. So let's get this right. On or about January 17, 2023, there was no written notice. There was no court orders. There was no notice of public utilities being terminated. We didn't even know who tampered with the public utilities. My first question was contact the Rockdale Water Resources. And of course, the director's name, his name is Kim Repeats, provided something to me in writing that was a lie. They're the only public water authority, period. And the fact that we had infrastructural damages as well as sewage problems, and they did resolve that as public officials. I see why Mr. Fears dropped his, resigned from his position because he knew this day was coming. Public utility tampering, somebody trying to cut off my voice? I don't think so. This is called prolonged deprivation of public utilities. And no, I'm not agreeing with whatever body's report or anybody's report misrepresenting me as a quote unquote disgruntled person. I don't think so. It does not justify anybody tampering or this many amount of years of prolonged long-term deprivation of public utilities, that's sewage and water, I paid electricity bill. Thank God it's not through Rockdale Water Resources. I paid a water bill. I paid electricity bill every month. And thank God that he kept me. And all them people who disqualified themselves by lack of integrity, you disqualified yourself. The paperwork is evident. That includes employees who misrepresented things, evidence tampering, taking on my videos without my written consent, and then using it in the context in which it was not intended. This video was not made on September the 20th, 2023. Neither was any of the podcasts, and they weren't intended for the city of Conyers usage. And just like the constituent services, some of them were from previous administrations. Ms. Doss, she came from a different administration. She recycled herself as a servant, but conveniently would not take my calls. And then when she did take my calls, she was very short. And then my information, some kind of way, got disappeared, or important information, links, videos, got removed out of the report. HUD's on the deal too. HUD, HUD's representatives, it's been for years, said they didn't get my paperwork. It wasn't uploaded. That paperwork was faxed, emailed, but they dismissed my claims, legitimate claims. They're not the only ones. This is HUD. And I have loans associated with all that. And when you've been prolonged, long-term displaced from your own house due to, I could say felony because it describes it. The law describes it. When you tamper, cut off, terminate public utilities without permits, without being the public water authority, without consent of the owner, that describes felony tampering, public utility tampering. And by law, nobody is allowed to mess with the area. They should have been and restored the public utilities with the authorized public water authority, which is Rockdale Water Resources. No, I will not be coerced to sign any contract that would give up my rights to public utility services. Now, if anybody used any signature that was intended for other documents, sworn affidavit, you cannot use that and paste it on another form. Okay? I'm putting this on the video since people are looking at my videos. Under American with Disabilities Act, I did not give consent permission for anyone to use my signature, paste it on anything, remove links, exchange it for other links. I did not give any written permission for that, and they did not obtain my permission for any of that. And this goes all the way up. So, all the way up to my state representatives, to my congressmen, all of them. And it includes police reports. It includes, we had ACT Work police. We had Conyers police conjuring up things because I would call 911 and they would argue me down, say this is a civil matter. What you're describing is a civil matter. They wouldn't even give me an opportunity to get it all out. And then when I would send them an email and nobody will respond, we got Noonan police, and we're going to check out their leadership. We're going to check out. And now we got Woodstock. Now, I've been in Georgia, traveling through back and forth for decades. And then all of a sudden, all these reports, misrepresentation, this is to justify prolonged, long term deprivation of public utilities, falsified documents, replaced videos. I really didn't believe people did that kind of stuff because I don't do that kind of stuff. So that's why I couldn't understand. And then when they're confronted, and this includes um, Hank Johnson, Congress, I don't know if he's congressman or representative, um, he knows about, he's an attorney by trade. And we're talking about long-term, prolonged utility tampering and termination of public utilities. And he didn't say nothing. If he did say something, he did not advocate. He actually got his um, district redrawn to where my address was no longer in his district. I'm in 92. And then let's talk about House Bill 398, cottage license. I was issued a cottage license back in 2021. I'm a cottage license so that I can bake pound cakes in my house. I had to get the kitchen inspected. And during that time, the application asked, did we have public utility services? I still got a copy of that application. Public utility services is through Roddale Water Resources. And there was no individual water meters. So why would my representative, District 92, promote a bill regarding cottage license? In my license, they no longer are requiring people to pay for a cottage license every year. Mine just expired December 31st, 2025. But the fact that there's no public utility services just basically shut down my whole business. And when I filed a claim, because I had to have commercial insurance, even though I was driving to venues, selling my pound cake at pop-ups, whatever, church, what have you. Um, and basically my business was shut down. The cake business was. And this was not no diet pound cake. This was not no pound cake sold in conjunction with a weight loss coach. That's not that is not included. The weight loss coach happened for me because I used to weigh 260 pounds. And because I was selling pound cake, people accused the pound cake of making me fat. When I found out it was allergies, not just allergies, it was due to environmental issues, sewer line backup, had nothing to do with the pound cake. But we didn't know that. So I had to go to all these specialists. At the end of the day, this conversation does not describe everything that has been involved. I have documentations, letters. It's been stacks and stacks of it. So anybody want to use this video podcast to justify why they were out of order? I don't think so. It does not explain the whole complete picture. So taking excerpts of this does not work. And I put this on the video. I forgot. I lost my chain of thought that quick. But at the end of the day, I'm going to move forward and try to stack my conversation to where it flows. So, what I can say is thank you till my thoughts catch up with one another. I can always give thanks, take a deep breath, pause, because this is nothing but what atypicals have to go through. So more people need to test share their testimonies on overcoming, because a lot of people like to take advantage of atypicals, get them to answer questions real quick. Um, and we're already atypical. We talk a lot. There's something in the Bible says you utter everything. You a fool. But some of us were born ADH, Americans with Disabilities Act. We were born differently, and our gifts are different. Some talk a lot, some don't. I just happen to be one that talked a lot, but I have content, and my content is going to help somebody. Sharing my testimonies, and when you don't know what to do, you research, you write it down. And this has been a tactic that government, it doesn't mean it's on all levels, use to try to discredit people, legitimate people who have legitimate concerns. And the fact that I wasn't given ADA accommodation, even after I asked for it verbally and I put it in writing, says a lot about Goodwill Industries at Woodstock. And I've been harassed at other Goodwills too. I'm not going to mention them yet because they have not falsely they have not misrepresented me to the local police yet. But maybe they can learn something from this. Because one thing, once a person asks for it and they put it in writing, and I send it to the corporate offices in writing, you can't harass people about asking for extra computer time, because it takes them a longer time to process. And at the end of the day, all these agencies failed me. They failed to have integrity. And since it is a felony, even adult, even APD, Adult Protective Services in Atlanta, did not investigate this properly. They didn't even verify that public utilities had been terminated to my home. And this wasn't done by the Public Water Authority. And so, since all these agencies have exhausted themselves, they expect for me to go to court for public utility services. That's what cut off your voice, is going to court. And the Bible says, do not go hastily to court. And there's more scripture regarding that. And thank God that I have a desire to read the Bible, because that wouldn't have never came clear to me if God didn't give me a heart to read the Bible. That's why I don't take people to court, especially somebody like myself. I'm not even an attorney. I don't even have a bar degree. And by the way, no attorney wanted to take on this case because it dealt with felony public utility tampering. So if they would have lied, which, the federal laws, state laws, local laws, um, they could have lost their law degree. So nobody wanted to take on my case, even legal aid. Matter of fact, Alisa, I forgot her name is Haber. She was a chief attorney for one of the nonprofits, Georgia Legal Services. She she accused me of having a conversation with her about a a a non-public utility contractor. And she said to me, wrote this down. I said, I ain't tell her none of that. So give me some time. I'll be able to respond in writing. She refused to take my case, knowing that I'm a senior, disabled, ADA. accommodation. She wouldn't even take it on, made some excuse, and they still don't, and they still have blocked my email. All these agencies blocked my email because they didn't want to deal with the problem of public utility termination, long-term public utility deprivation, long-term displacement from my home, and I'm paying mortgage every month. And they didn't reveal none of this was revealed to me all at once. Nobody said nothing about turning the water off. Nobody said not one thing. But what I can say is all these people involved, agencies, systems, for little old me, what is going on? It's something bigger than that. My next door neighbor is an investor, owns a unit next door to me. He has another house. He don't have to live in his property because they worked it out and let him register the property in his business name. So that exempts him from being sued. And he's never paid $275. And now all of a sudden, my board members, Cynthia Banks is one of them, who is a licensed real estate agent, and Lillian, I don't know if her last name Rodriguez or Dominguez or whatever. She's a retired federal government receiving a person receiving her pension. And my question is, what is in it for her to be so adverse and to have integrity? And the fact that she got involved in all this public utility tampering, long term deprivation, lying to me. And then she also mischaracterized me in the monthly HOA minutes. Why would you want to do that? Say my name all over the place. Well, all that is going to come back and be revealed because my parents spent a lot of time living integrity. The least I can do is continue to live it. That's why I pay my bills. I give tithes and offerings to the church out of obedience to the Bible. I'm giving thanks to everybody because it took a lot of people to encourage me, to say thank you. There's a lot of people who gave me lots of smiles. So the people who misrepresented me in any kind of way, mischaracterized me in any way, you did this to yourself. If you lose your elected position, you did this to yourself. You can't blame me for turning off public utilities when I didn't cause it. And then to try to cover it up, some of my videos have been withdrawn from YouTube. I was like, these videos were my videos. And then they were a correct account of what went on. See, I have to have assistive devices. Some of them work, some of them don't now. So I haven't been able to get them updated. But I'm grateful that I have assistive devices. Google is one of them. That's for everybody. But at the end of the day, integrity matters over everything. So I expect that the truth is already revealed. I'm the common denominator. So is everybody else who mischaracterized me, yelled at me, accused me of doing things I didn't do, including my neighbors. The HOA board are my neighbors. Some of them live on the property and some of them don't. Some of them are not even in the state. And they are on the phone when we have a HOA meeting. There's something not right about that. We got to be present, but they don't offer this um, service. Even when I ask for accommodation, they don't offer the audio or Zoom call to all of us. There's something not right about that. So, and then this mischaracterization is gonna bite them in the face because I'm sure I got more people who are for me than against me. So I hope I've talked an hour now. Anybody got any notes? Anybody say anything? Oh, thanks, John. Thank you, John, for coming. So, I'm just gonna have to bid everybody adieu. I think I've been here at least an hour. My phone is about to die. I'll come back. My phone. Um, I just had to plug it in, but I don't know how long this gonna be good. I ain't trying to um make my battery go down. But this is a story that continues since I've been writing about it for several years now. And since I've just discovered some new information, because I didn't know nothing about that 1076, that condominium questionnaire. I didn't know nothing about that. And then I didn't know that the appraiser until recently had falsely claimed the property as habitable when it wasn't habitable without for due to long-term prolonged deprivation of public utilities. That's water and sewage, since I pay for electricity with Georgia Power, which is utility services. We don't want anyone um, misguided. Rydell Water Resources is the only public water authority in Georgia and Rydell County. Nobody else. And I have not consented or signed any contract with any utility company. We're not talking about public water authority. I have not changed none of my, signed away any of my water rights. So, at some point, this is already going to work out. And if the public utilities, which have already been confirmed, which you can see my pictures say a whole lot, and all the elected officials involved who participated in this, they did this to themselves. I am not no person who cut the water off. And if you guys didn't do your diligence to serve your constituents, you did this to yourself. That includes the mayor of Conyers. That includes all of City Council. That includes the attorney, Carrie Buchek. She said, we can't help you. She put that in writing. So the fact that public utilities were deprived for a long time, and they have city ordinances around all that, as well as state, county, federal, and the police, local police didn't do anything to protect the people who pay taxes, since I'm a paying taxpayer, who disregarded public utilities. That's why they made it a felony to tamper with public utilities, because initially it was set up um, for, houses that were vacant. When they were foreclosed, people were going in there stealing the copper, all kind of stuff, and they used it against certain groups demographics and made it a felony for anybody to tamper with public utilities. But now, um, they selectively enforce that law. City of Conyers police didn't even enforce the law, kept yelling at me. This is a civil matter. It is not a civil matter. It's especially since I got a receipt for $850 for one plumber from the choice home warranty people. The warranty people wouldn't even and they wouldn't even insure my property no more because they kept sending out plumber after plumber after plumber, and it wasn't helping because the problem was external. That's on the common areas. And since they wouldn't insure me no more, I was like, what's going on? But the plumbers that did come out were dispatched by Choice Home Warranty. These were licensed plumbers. So there's no way I could have made any of this up. These are people I didn't even know. So what I can say is the truth always gets revealed. And if you got to be using local law enforcement, city or county law enforcement to mischaracterize me or discredit me, I have a longer track record than they do of having integrity. And I put this on the video. My bloodline has a longer track record. And all of a sudden, I'm getting tickets for or citations for felony criminal trespassing. That's kind of long fetching. That's long. And so, since they want to do that, I'm going to ask that they rescind that because that's not the truth. And so, since it's not the real truth, Goodwill Industries, Woodstock, as well as the Woodstock Police. I didn't forgot all their names, but I can send an email describing everything. So is Ackworth Police. And this Michael Taylor said, there she go again. He responded because he was he responded in writing. Like, I'm not allowed to say anything about prolonged long-term deprivation of public utilities. I'm not allowed to write about that. And the prolonged long-term uninhabitable conditions, the prolonged long-term displacement, Michael Taylor of the Ackworth Police Department wrote that. There she go again. What do you mean? If your wife, children, family did not have access to public utilities, you think you're supposed to agree with that? No, Lieutenant, Captain Michael Taylor with Ackworth Police Department. No, your family would not have to go through that, and neither do I. I've written a letter to Chief of Police at Ackworth. His name is Chief Chatham. I haven't gotten anything back in writing for them. Put the case number on there. Had to fax it to him. I have a receipt of faxes. Nobody has responded to me in writing. So, if anyone is using this video to document or to as a defensive strategy, you do not have my permission, consent to do so. I'm putting that in writing. Coweta Police Department, if you guys have any reports of criminal trespassing that I'm aware of, I wasn't told of it, but if that is the case, that is not true. Any mischaracterization mischaracterizations of me is not true. I'm not, whatever somebody accused me of, if you don't have my written consent to saying whatever they said was true, it's not true. Who else? If any of the hotels all of a sudden start reporting me as something not true. Matter of fact, there's a law. It's called innkeeper's law. If you refuse to provide toilet paper to your guests, that's a ticket for them. That's what they were doing at Best Western, withholding public necessities like toilet paper. I couldn't understand. Man said to me, y'all gonna laugh at this. I went and asked for some toilet paper. The front desk said to me, "You've been here all day. You should have asked for some earlier. You come back tomorrow and ask for some toilet paper." So I went back to my room. No toilet paper. I had to use napkins that I use for my business. And I thought to myself, something ain't right about this, but I didn't know about the innkeeper's law. They have to give you toilet paper if you ask for it. And I didn't pay a lot of money as a guest. And the fact that my church paid for somebody else's stay, $600. God blessed me to facilitate that because I generated a call to my buddy over there at New Birth, and he facilitated. And we 60 miles away from the church. They're not even members, but the hotel benefited from that. So when another guest came in, they were yelling. I was like, "What's going on? Breakfast time? I can't hear all that early in the morning." And this ain't the whole story. This is a synopsis. So don't take this little bit and say, "Hey, she said this, that, that." You don't have my permission to use my video for your defense. But I do know this really happened. This black lady. Well, I ain't gonna say she black. I don't know if she black or not. Because these days, all kind of cultures look dark like me, okay? It's not just African American or black. You got other races that have them black as me, and they from India, South America, they from all over the world, okay? Africa themselves. So anyway, well, this lady who appeared to me as American, because she spoke American dialect, I heard all this ruckus, loud screaming in the lobby of the Best Western. It's right next to the lunchroom. You could hear all that. So I was like, "Ooh, that's a lot of noise." So she came back in the back. She still was yelling. And I had this Bible. I don't know if I told y'all this story before, but I said, "Maybe you ought to read the Bible." She told me they ain't got no Bibles in the hotel. I said, "Yes, they do. You ain't look in the drawer." I said, "But you can have this Bible." She said, I went to school Bible college. I mean, she went to school in Christian school, so she remembers some of the Bible. And she said he wouldn't even give us toilet paper. And we girls, we need toilet paper. I said, "Yeah." I said, "He did the same thing to me." But he did give her some toilet paper, but this was after a long verbal cuss out, going back and forth, all this stuff. Took him hours to give her toilet paper, right? But I wasn't yelling when he denied me toilet paper. I just went back to my room. But her case, it incited her to cuss him out, all kinds of stuff. She's still cussing him out the next day. But the police were called that night before because he incited her by not giving her any toilet paper. So when the Acworth police got out there, she was flashing everybody. This is according, I wasn't there because I didn't see it all. But a girlfriend told me the rest of the story because she was still cussing 3 days later. The same woman that I gave the Bible to. I said to myself, he didn't give her no toilet paper. And if he did give her some, It was hours later. And when you need to go to the bathroom, how you gonna tell somebody, I can't give me no toilet paper? And then he made an excuse. Well, I couldn't get it through the latch. And then later opens up the door to give us some toilet paper. Later, hours later, after she didn't cuss him out, I don't know how many times. Because she still was cussed the next day. But she ended up getting a ticket from Acworth police because she was disrupting the peace. But it was incited by that front desk not giving her no toilet paper. I'm not saying it was right for her to cuss him out. It was wrong. But he incited it and then act like he didn't do anything later. That was the wrong thing. But in my case, I just went back to my room. He didn't get cussed out for not giving me no toilet paper. And then we were back there that same day, and she telling me her whole story uh, about not getting the toilet paper, or she got it late, or whatever. Um, Somebody else was in there. He went the same front desk, wouldn't give them some coffee. The coffee's in the room. I said, well, you can have my coffee. I don't drink coffee. And he said, no, if you ask for extra coffee, you're not supposed to be denied that. And he was a retired cop himself. I was like, really? He said, and I said, well, they didn't give me no toilet paper. He said, and he came back later and gave me his toilet paper. Went off on the front desk too and said, you ain't got to go without toilet paper. I said, I know, but I didn't know about the innkeeper till later. So I'm getting this information along the way. And I'm reporting to people what is going on. It's called abuse when you withhold basic things that's supposed to be provided by the innkeeper. Toilet paper is one of them. I didn't know about that law until Acworth police failed to tell me, said, well, if you've been here 90 days, we can't legally kick you out. But they evicted me out of the Best Western, even though I've been there 90 some days or more. Okay, Acworth police, did you make up some stories about me, misrepresent me? I hope not, because it's gonna come around and reveal the truth about people. This is not what you do to people. It's mischaracterize them, or all of a sudden they become this way and they're not that way. And that's how the system has been legally withholding public utilities from me. They got some smart people that went to school, but it wasn't intended to abuse the least of these. The least is usually the best. Americans with Disability Act, whoever set that out, thank you. And it was initially to protect um, disabled people. And we're disabled, but we're not looking for um, to be abused by people. No. And this is why we have AbilityNow, so that we are heard, not as a complaint, as a truth. So I just mentioned 4 police departments conjuring up charges, writing it all up, telling the business owners how to write their reports up, all that pre-planned. But this lady was outside waiting for me, no name tag, nothing. And so when a person is able to share the truth, and if you do it to one person, you're going to do it to somebody else. See, people like this are repeated offenders. They'll do it again if they think they got away with it. And you're not going to get away with nothing. So the truth is, I'm going to tell everybody, have integrity. If you can tell the truth, tell the truth. It's the best way to go. I thank God for both of my parents. My mama's gone already, but my daddy's still here. And he do his best to tell the truth. I'm not telling the truth by cussing people out. No. I'm talking about tell the truth in love. You ain't got to cuss everybody out. I ain't got to cuss nobody out. My papers say a whole lot. My reports say a whole lot. They didn't even read them. They just threw my paper in the trash. This includes the HOAs, these are my neighbors, the Public Water Authority, all the different agencies, EPD, Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, HUD, my state representatives, um, my congressmen, this constituent services. I didn't have a computer to compress everything. So I stacked all my emails because I didn't have a computer. I didn't have computer access all the time. I didn't have all the information. I didn't have all the videos. I didn't even have the company names at first. I didn't even know who cut the water off. It was years later before this document, one of the documents was archived at the public library. It wasn't even on the internet anymore. I was like, wow, 80% of our community has this water. They didn't even talk about the 20% that don't have public water. That was me included. How you gonna do that? And my state representatives don't say nothing. City council don't say nothing. City attorney and the county attorney. I got a call from the county commissioners. I forgot her name already, but she called me and said, "I'm not gonna help you, CeCe." I said, "Why not?" She had already hung up the phone. Oh, Janice Van Ness. Why would you not want to help your community? We the ones that give and pay taxes. We the ones, I think I might have voted for her because I didn't like what was in there before. I don't even know if that was a good thing. At the end of the day, you still have to honor your oath of office. And one of them is to protect and serve the people in your community. This is why you swear under God. Put your hands up. Put your hand on the Bible. Whatever way they swear, they got a sign to it. All city council members, all people who are in elected office of elected positions, whether it's state, city, county, federal government, all have to honor the ADA, American with a Disability Act. Count it a blessing that somebody wrote that law. And no more mischaracterization of CeCe Carr. I don't use pronouns because nobody needs to know if I'm a ma'am, Mr., her, Ms., whatever. She, We don't need to use pronouns. Remove all pronouns. My, it ain't my, nothing. It is our country, our community that we need to take care of. It ain't no me, myself, and I when it comes to public access to computers, public access to food, public access to public utilities and water. This is a violation of 14th Amendment. How you gonna censor somebody's mouth telling the truth and make me sign or accept other provisions on TikTok? I can't even do my video on TikTok no more because they want me to accept some new agreement. No, I ain't doing none of that. And most of my videos have been, what do you call it? The good ones have been redacted, not redacted, removed from YouTube, or the links to YouTube that I had presented in my letters have been changed or tampered with and put replaced with Senator Ossoff's videos. Did not paste any of his YouTube videos or links in any of my emails. Who did that? Well, everything is traceable. Everything links back to somebody, including the evidence tampering at the Office of Commissioner's Office of Insurance. See, when you tamper with emails, it changes the color just on the computer. When you print it, if you print black and white, it doesn't show where it's been tampered with, changed by Manasseh Sodi. No, thank you. I'm putting it on the record. Manasseh Zodi tampered with the emails, removed content. He ain't the only one. There's some other ones that did the same thing. I just happened to view his because the color on the email changed from black, solid black, to a dark blue color. I wasn't supposed to see that. But thank God, because God revealed it to me. And these are evidence tampering. Just like the city of Conyers posted my video to AbilityNow video to a public website, and then they doctored up all the minutes of the certified minutes of the September 20th, 2023 city council meeting. Like I was part of the agenda, like I was answering back. At that point, they didn't have any regulations that anybody could object. And then after that date, October 2023 or whatever, they passed some type of rules so we could not object to anything. And that's funny because they changed all the minutes to accommodate as though I was a sworn in member allowed to object. Who does that? People trying to save their elected positions because they know they were wrong? Come on. At the end of the day, God exposes the truth. Put your hands up. Surrender now, y'all. Because all this pushback over public utilities that's supposed to be delivered to my home, I paid for it, but y'all withhold it. Are you withholding? They ain't putting nothing in writing saying why they withholding it. Turn the water on. That's all you got to do. Restore everything back to new. Plus, replace what need to be replaced. And I couldn't say every little thing in this conversation. So don't take my recording and say, well, she only said this and that. No, I can put something in writing. And I want everything that I'm supposed to be afforded. Everything according to the law, plus administrative um resolution, payment, all that. Because this has went on too long. You might as well come out with your hands up. Go ahead and tell the truth so you can be free. If people need to be out of their positions, elected positions, I don't even care what side they are on. I only want it to somebody who would do the job, whether or not it's Republican or Democrat. The best person qualified for the job. That's all. That's why I don't talk bad about our president. He probably know things that we don't know. And there's a reason why he is making these decisions. At the end of the day, he got there for a reason. So we don't talk bad about nobody. But what I can do is tell the truth. So help me God, my sworn affidavits mean something. Ain't none of them swearing to something. If they did, they didn't provide me a copy with it. It's what you do underhanded. So back to Goodwill, because this happened today, this morning. 10, the report said 10:12. I was like, woo. She was waiting for me. I just can't believe it. Didn't even have a name tag on. Didn't even give me an opportunity to read the documents. Criminal trespassing? Come on. I think you need to rescind that Woodstock police. I think you rescind all that. I'm saying it because there was a request for ADA accommodation, and I will provide that in writing. And if this was in retaliation for requesting ADA accommodation, there's a paper trail for that. So, am I done now, y'all? I think I have exhausted my conversation. It's time for me to say goodbye to all my family. MICKEY. So I'm only playing. Um, I got a sister named Michelle, for real. And she's an educator, very smart. But anyway, I gotta go, y'all. I think it's time. I didn't get no time limit. They should have got me a time limit because time went by fast, and I still got the light on, y'all. Take care. Good night.
Thank you, CeCe.
Sleep. Bye. Thank you, Emily.